Hey guys, it's Danielle. Welcome to a new series with I'm Not Gonna Lie called Shelter Diaries. Smack dab in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, we here in California are under a shelter-in-place order. No going out, no socializing, and definitely no in-person podcasting. I'm using this extra time and space to tap in regularly and keep my peeps entertained, hopefully. Join me for bite-sized episodes that include phone calls with fellow self-isolators, as well as the ramblings about things that are keeping me up at night. If you have something you want to ask, share, or inform, reach out to me on the interwebs at I'm Not Gonna Lie, and maybe I'll touch on a few in upcoming episodes. Thanks for joining. See you on the other side of this big old mess. Hi, welcome back to Shelter Diaries. I can't even tell you what day it is. I mean, what number day it is as it pertains to sheltering. I know it's a Saturday. I don't even know the date, but it's March 20 something, 8 maybe. And I'm here in my attic with a blanket wrapped around me. Because it's a little chilly, it's raining and drizzly and depressing outside. I will say though, this morning I woke up and I was having this feeling of sadness, I guess, which I'm sure a lot of you are feeling. The question I asked myself was like, what is my purpose? I feel like I've devolved to this place where I don't even know what my purpose is in life anymore. And I'm going from one day to the next, up and down, and not even just one day to the next, but 1 hour to the next of like, it's going to be okay. And all of this time to figure out all the things. And then there are moments where like this morning when I woke up and I was making my coffee and I was thinking, okay, I managed to stretch my morning till 9:30 laying in the bed, scrolling through my phone, which we know is the first mistake that I made. I get up, I make my coffee, and all I could think about was I'm at the front end of a really long day, and I just want to be at the back end. I want it to be nighttime where I can be getting ready to go to bed and fall asleep again. Not because I'm tired, but because the thought of getting through the entire Saturday felt so big and hard. And so I decided to go for a walk. I have a 5-mile loop that I used to run. I haven't run for a while, so I certainly wasn't going to be running, but I have just gotten into this podcast I mentioned a couple of days ago, Brene Brown's Unlocking Us. And I had started a walk yesterday, and then my headphones died in like 5 minutes. So I started an episode, which was amazing from the beginning, but I didn't get to finish it. So I was kind of looking forward to today. I'm like, I need to get some fresh air. Even if it's raining, I don't care. I'll go walk in the rain and I can finish listening to this particular episode. The episode was with Tarana Burke. And Tarana is the woman who originally started the Me Too movement back in 2006, I believe. So 14 years ago. And it was a little bit of a different, I don't want to say it was a different movement. She started it with a different intention. And so that's the foundation of the movement. And that's what this podcast was about. It was about reminding everybody what it means, what that movement means. And so it was impactful. And I will touch on it a little bit more another time because it has informed a certain project that I'm working on. But what I wanted to talk about today was this other episode with Glennon Doyle. Glennon Doyle just released a book called Untamed. And I don't know if I know anybody who doesn't know who Glennon Doyle is. But if you don't, I highly recommend you get to know her. She's pretty amazing. But During this episode, it was kind of near the end of my walk. I had probably about 10 more minutes left, and I had just approached an intersection where it was a red light and cars were stopped. And I hit this part of the episode that made me start bawling. And I was standing on Bodega Avenue at a red light, waiting for the light to turn so I could cross, and I had tears. And it was interesting, I'm sure, for the people who were sitting there waiting for me to cross. But I wanted to read a little excerpt, because this is, I'll talk more about it afterward, but essentially it was the one thing that I've ever read or heard that exactly nailed a feeling that I've been having since I was in my early 20s, and I never knew how to articulate. And every time I tried to articulate out loud, it just sounded ridiculous. And so that's what kind of caused me to start crying. So I'm going to read this really quick. Let me just set it up really quick. She was talking about having gone to a zoo with her family, and there was this thing called the cheetah run. And basically they were showing how this cheetah had grown up next to a Labrador, and basically the cheetah had been tamed to the point that it functioned, it behaved just like the Labrador. So it wasn't wild, it was tamed. And so at the end of the cheetah run, the zookeeper was taking questions. So here's the excerpt. A young girl, maybe 9 years old, raised her hand and asked, "Isn't Tabitha sad? Doesn't she miss the wild?" "I'm sorry, I can't hear you," asked the zookeeper. "Can you ask that again?" The child's mother said louder, "She wants to know if Tabitha misses the wild." The zookeeper smiled and said, "No, Tabitha was born here. She doesn't know any different. She's never even seen the wild. This is a good life for Tabitha. She's much safer here than she would be out in the wild." While the zookeeper began sharing facts about cheetahs born into captivity, my older daughter, Tish, nudged me and pointed to Tabitha. There, in that field, away from Minnie and the zookeepers, Tabitha's posture had changed. Her head was high, and she was stalking the periphery, tracing the boundaries the fence created. Back and forth, stopping only to stare somewhere beyond the fence. It was like she was remembering something. She looked regal and a little scary. Tish whispered to me, "Mommy, she turned wild again." I nodded at Tish and kept my eyes on Tabitha as she stalked. I wish I could ask her, "What's happening inside you right now, Tabitha?" I knew what she'd tell me. She'd say, "Something's off about my life. I feel restless and frustrated. I have this hunch that everything was supposed to be more beautiful than it is. I imagine fenceless, wide-open savannas. I want to run and hunt and kill. I want to sleep under an ink-black, silent sky filled with stars. It's all so real I can taste it." Then she'd look back at the cage, the only home she's ever known. She'd look at the smiling zookeepers, the bored spectators, and her panting, bouncing, begging best friend, the lab. She'd sigh and say, "I should be grateful. I've had a good enough life here. It's crazy to long for what doesn't even exist." And I would say, "Tabitha, you are not crazy. You're a goddamn cheetah." That's what it did when I was on my walk. It made me cry. I think because for a long time, I used to say to myself something similar, and it was always like, "Oh, I've had a good life. Like, I can't complain. I've had nothing. I've wanted for nothing." But deep inside, I always felt like I was meant for something bigger, or life was meant to be bigger or more or something. This is what I'm talking about. I can't really articulate it, but then to put it in perspective of like taming and untaming, it's like there's a way of existence, at least for me, that has felt very tame I followed all the rules and all of the shoulds and the, and those things. And I've had a really great existence generally, but there's always like somewhere inside that felt like there was more. Again, I don't know. It's not like I need more stuff or I need to be bigger so people know me more. It's not that. It's just like there's some sort of color that hasn't been turned on in the world for me. And I know it's there. Anyway, it was a good intro to the book. So needless to say, as I was walking, I went on Amazon and bought the book. And then I felt immediately guilty because I don't know, I'm having a love-hate relationship with Amazon right now, which is a whole nother podcast, but I ended up canceling the order and then downloading it on Kindle because I wanted so badly to come up here and talk on the microphone and read that. And I just fell into that instant gratification mode because I felt like I had to share that. So in the wake of all of that, I woke up feeling kind of like helpless and sad and feeling sorry for myself. I went on the walk. It was 5 miles. It was great. I listened to some amazing stories. And I came home and I felt very creative and inspired. And so that's good, right? All's well that ends well. And so now I'm going to go downstairs and finish putting my Legos together. I got a 4,000 piece Lego set that is the Manchester United stadium, soccer stadium. Not that I was a huge Manchester United fan, but it was 4,000 pieces and I knew it would keep me a little bit busy. So that's been very fun and meditative. And I would love to know what everybody else is doing out there. And am I the only one who's feeling like everything from hopeless to hopeful, hourly, every day? I'm not even my mood swings are not even daily anymore. They're hourly. And even if you're not, it would be great if you told me you were. At least one person would tell me so I didn't feel like I was alone. I don't think I am alone, but all right, that's it. This is a short one today. I just felt like I wanted to share that. Anybody who's into listening to podcasts, I highly recommend Brene Brown, Unlocking Us. It's very good. She's got some pretty amazing guests on there. And that's it. All right. Happy Saturday, everybody.